Welcome everyone, Sandra Alexei from Game Changer and from my personal muse, which is my website. Okay, so I know a lot of people have joined and they're not quite sure what I do or who I am, so you can check out my website as to what services I do offer. I have a fairly diverse background. Thank you all for taking the time today to be with me, and I hope that my message will help you out during these challenging times. This is a series on relationships that I've decided to do because Game Changer is basically about the new model of relationships, and we have challenges and struggles, not just with relationships right now. Okay, so this is the second part of it. Okay. And so today we're going to talk about the relationship challenges that are showing up right now. And so because I work with planetary cycles and astrology, and Venus is the planet of love and of relationships and of worth and different things, it's in a 4-month run in the sign of Gemini. That's from April the 3rd to August the 7th. And it retrogrades, which means so you're running along, you're doing your relationships, and all of a sudden it stops. And then you kind of go within and you reassess and re-edit, okay, what's happening with relationships. And we know that during these downtimes of relationships where we are, not downtimes of relationship, but where we have a downtime in that we are isolated and we are with our families and with our significant other or whatever, there are many challenges. There's been more domestic violence, more drinking, whatever. For some people, it's been great. Okay, and that's fine. What I want to address is what's going to be happening, because the more we're inside, we can't get outside, it's too cold. So we want to be aware of what's happening. Okay. So I'm using the term nouveauté. I have authored other books, and that was one in 2004, and that's about change, about innovation, about newness, about novelty, about a new world. And it's like the metamorphosis is kind of like the magic of life. So if we could look at this differently, have a different perception. Okay, it's the process of change that ensures growth and allows us to shed the old before we come into the new. So you have to remember, it's like a snake. We're shedding our skin, and so we can come into the new. And how do we do that? We look within and we do inner work. Okay, we can't go without, so we have to go within right now. In the 1920s, Carl Jung became fascinated with a term called alchemy. And he theorized it was a journey of the soul. Now, the interesting thing, both of my first two books, because they were about spa business and designing spas and procedures and that type of thing, because I've been in the professional beauty industry for years, it was about alchemy and how I came up with the term. I was living in Hawaii and I was working with a metaphysical person, and he said to me, you need to go back to Canada because you're going to be writing a book. And I go, oh, I don't think so. So he threw me a piece of paper, okay, and a pencil, just like this paper, and he goes, and what would it be called? And I said it would be called Spa and Salon Alchemy. And you know, those are my two books, and if you go on my website you'll see them. The Spa and Salon Alchemy, the first one was the ultimate ownership of business, and the next one was procedures. So alchemy is has a real place in my life. Okay, and basically it is the journey of the soul, and that's what I believe that we're here for, is where our soul is on this journey to evolve and to mature. So with the new emerging views and many mysteries of the universe being understood now, the consequence of being aligned with what we call our own frequency. What's being aligned with our frequency? It'll dictate the creation and quality of your cell tissue for your health. Okay? I like to say it that we each hum with our own frequency. And sometimes those frequencies create a wonderful tune if we're alive, if we're aligned, alive. Other times not. Okay, now you have to remember. So if we have two people, okay, here's one person, here's the other. They've got this frequency, they've got this frequency, they come together. However, as their soul evolves, their frequencies change. So they're going to maybe have challenges. How do we deal with those challenges? That's part of this. At a time when lives are spinning out of control and as the world changes around us, we need to rethink our perceptions and move to new levels of discernment regarding people, body, mind, and spirit, the news, the government, religions, societal structures, and finances. Our perceptions, the mindset we use to view the world, and how we view ourselves are shaped by what? Our personal experiences, our education, and our beliefs. And where do we get them from? Parents, society, religion, okay? School, university, that's where. Until you start discovering a lot on your own and studying. Now, discernment is a process involving perception, intuition, decision-making, and action. So it's the ability to differentiate between making different choices and decisions. Okay, I sat with the word discernment from 1997. I've had a lot of different life experiences. I've been very blessed, okay? And some decisions, there's never a wrong decision. It's what did I learn from that decision? That's what the process of discernment has helped me. But it's also helping me to be more discerning in making decisions. And so my latest word has been about detachment, okay? So we rethink our beliefs, our purposes, our priorities, and patterns of behaving that move us to new levels of life. That's how we mature, okay? Which is what's happening during this isolation process. The hardest thing for most people is the lack of permanence and security. Many people are starting to abandon their materialistic quests and search for solutions that may lie in spiritual traditions. There's where we're looking within. Therefore, we can define alchemy as an ancient path of transformation and spiritual purification, which expands the consciousness and will develop more insight and intuition. You know that. I mean, when we think about it, when we meet certain people or people will tell us about something and it's like, I'm not sure about that. And here's where I need to put this in. This is a Buddhist thing. See a person for who they really are as opposed to who you want them to be. See a situation for what it really is as opposed to what you want it to be. Okay, that is very, very interesting. And this is when you get into your intuition and there's red flags in the Game Changer. We talk about, hey, if there's red flags, it's like, wow, that's not quite making sense for me. Okay. Thanks to research into the structure of matter and the behavior of energy, scientists now understand the basic underlying reality behind all existence is not matter, but consciousness. And that's a common thread in ancient mystical teachings. The most exciting breakthroughs of the 21st century will occur not just because of technology, but also due to an exploding concept of what it means to be human and how to actualize human potential with integrity, with authenticity, valuing the human spirit. No more choices. Isolation. So you will go within and you will take time for self-discovery. As we take the time to contemplate and reflect, we will notice that our values will usually completely shift. You need to be aware of that, be mindful. So what we really valued, moving from the materialistic now maybe to more of a spiritual aspect. Relationships are suffering. Some individuals are finding that they have nothing in common anymore. They actually can't stand the person that they're with. And there are many power struggles. As you go within and find your peace, you find you have not got the time or energy to deal with some of those issues. There are financial issues which put stress on the family unit if both persons exactly are not bringing in money or working. It starts to get on the nerve of the other person. They figure they're being used. So then we have the codependency, we have the energy vampires. Some individuals are just bored, okay, and expect their partners to entertain them. Others find they don't like the other person. So there's domestic violence, there's some drinking, and that's basically to not face the reality. So they're moving into more of a Piscean, it's like there's where the addictions come, but that can be eating, shopping, except now you can't go out a lot to do that. Mind you, I'm sure you can still do online shopping. Venus has now floated into Gemini, and so there's now where we're going to talk about the Venus in the relationships, and that can be a little bit flirtatious and can be a little bit fickle. Now that is very challenging because now Mercury moves into Aries, so there's where we can have some power struggles, some communication. The bottom line is, how strong is your relationship? Or are you in it because you're afraid to be alone, afraid of midlife crises, you can't afford to be on your own, staying for the sake of the children or other family members? There's very interesting karma right now, and that is being worked out in relationships, intimate, family, and friends, as we're moving into the fifth dimension, plus energies, and sometimes we shock ourselves when we look at our partner and we don't know who they are anymore. Have you ever had that feeling? I've had lots of calls and I've lots of worked with a lot of people over the years, but especially now. And that's basically what we're working with. Now, I've been saying this, with the transit since 2008, we've been encouraged to mature, to become more authentic, embrace our purpose, finding meaning, joy, and fulfillment in our lives. So nobody else can fulfill you. Nobody else can make you happy. So the new model of relationships has been evolving with the Aquarian energy, and we're getting a taste of it. And as of December 20th, 2020, we will be integrating it more. So this is a learning. Like we're in kindergarten and first grade now trying to learn all this. Relationships are more about being together in support of the evolution of each other's soul, as opposed to sexual gratification, taking care of someone and having children. I'm not saying that the sexual gratification and the intimacy is not important. It's put into proper priority, or what are you there for? The true nature is to get clarity of self through relationships, and you compromise spirit when you stay in a relationship because of fear. Sages can see through inauthentic or imitation, and their nature will expose ugliness, delusion, and deception. Some individuals will try to hold a relationship together with sex. In the end, that does not even matter. Whoever is the seducer will not understand that he or she has lost control. One of the keys to maturity is self-mastery over our emotions and our thoughts. When you surrender to an emotional state, you're trapped by volatility. Okay, and I am doing gene key work right now with Richard Rudd, and Matthew Ashdown is the one that I've been working with, and he actually got me into that. And so Richard Rudd says human beings are unconsciously addicted to conflict concerning relationships. And the gene keys is based on the I Ching. So it's a very deep, ancient mystical tradition. Until your frequency rises above the emotional gravitation of the opposite sex, you will never know peace. To end the conflict, you have to give up your attraction to the opposite sex. Human sexuality can only be transcended through physical mutation, transformation, which is dependent upon the extent of your connection to the higher planes of reality and consciousness. Maybe that's why a lot of, like, the Buddhist monks do not have sex. I don't believe that has to happen. I believe that as you mature, okay, it's about the physical, okay, it's physical intimacy and sexuality, but it is also about the development of the soul. And if you really care and love for someone, you want to support their soul growth so they can be the best they can be, so they can find their purpose, so they can find meaning, so they can find peace. It's not to trap them for your own personal satisfaction. So one of the things you can do is do your shadow work and take responsibility for your feelings. So everybody wants to push their feelings down. It's not good to be sad or angry. Hey, we are like nature. So I can get up. Today it was cloudy. Now the sun is shining. Tomorrow they could be a blizzard. Okay, we are the same. We're part of nature. So the bottom line is accept that. And when it comes to sexuality, there's a very good book. It's called Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And I think it's actually chapter 11 or 13. He talks about transmutation of sexual energy, okay? Because sexual energy is very creative. And it's all about finding the balance. But first of all, you have to find about what's your purpose so that you got the juice. So you're engaged in life. You're just like, I can't imagine retiring. I call myself semi-retired. Okay, I know people in their 90s, they're still engaged in life, doing what they love. And that's not for everybody, okay? A big Aquarian hit is to become whole beings so you can enter into an interdependent relationship. The game changer is the requirement now to complete karmic relationships, which is the Exciting You series. So it's going to be interesting next week because it's a shock, even the information that I have been downloaded with and researching on what's happening right now in relationship from a karmic point of view. So I want to thank you so much. Please click that you like this video. I hope that you would consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and check out my website, mypersonalmuse.com. And if you want to schedule a reading, and I'm going to be doing some classes probably May. And so I want to say many blessings, much love, and take care of yourself. Thank you.